In this video, we're going to take a look at a few ways podcasters can take their hard work and turn it into cold, hard cash. First things first, do you need to make money with your podcast? No, you don't. I know the whole Joe Rogan, 200 million and all sorts of money is flowing in here. But here's the thing. The steps are plan your podcast, launch your podcast, grow your podcast, and then monetize. And when you skip the grow part, what happens is you're not making any money because you skip the grow part, and consequently you get frustrated and you quit. When you first start, your primary goal should be making content that is so good, your audience can't help but share it with their friends. Then once you grow your audience, then you can look at monetizing. And if you don't want to monetize ever, that's perfectly fine as well. A lot of podcasters do it for fun. But eventually, you may want to explore ways of generating some cash off of your podcast to cover things like hosting costs, equipment upgrades, and paid marketing pushes. Now, while there are tons of ways to earn money from your content, we're going to explore three primary methods in this module: sponsorship, memberships and subscriptions, and merchandise. Sponsorship is a catch-all term when discussing any sort of podcast advertising. These audio ads pop up throughout your podcast to advertise a business that is paying you in exchange for exposing your audience to their message. Podcast ads are placed in the following locations in your episode. Pre-roll. These are ads placed before the episode plays. Mid-roll. These are ads placed during the episode playback. Post-roll. These are ads placed after the episode ends. Depending on where you place your ads and how many ads play during an episode can influence the amount that the advertiser pays out. So, what kind of ads play on a podcast? Well, primarily there are two different types. One is host-read ads, and the other one is programmatic ads. Host-read ads refer to ads for a business that are recorded by the podcast host. These ads are then either edited, aka baked in, to the podcast episode during post-production, or dynamically inserted into the episode using ad markers on the podcast host side. Host-read ads use the authority of the podcaster to drive conversions for the listener. The benefits of host-read ads are that host-read ads typically yield higher payouts from brands and advertisers, and these ads also are less liable to be skipped by the audience since they feel like they're part of the episode. The podcast host endorses the product rather than abrupt jump to a pre-recorded ad that doesn't feature the podcast host. Some of the disadvantages of host-read ads: these ads typically feature partnerships with large brands and marketplaces that will require a large audience with thousands of downloads to gain entry. This may be out of the reach for podcasters who are just getting started. Host-read ads require extra work and time on the podcaster's part, as you now have to record ad copy and place ad markers within your episode. If you're already stretched thin on time, this may not be worth it. Programmatic ads are a bit different than host-read ads. These ads are typically from brands and businesses that are pre-produced without the podcast host's involvement. These ads are typically categorized by certain niches and audiences. When they are played back, they are chosen by the categories that align with a specific podcast. Think of the ads that you might see on YouTube as an example of programmatic ads. Just like with host-read ads, the podcaster will still place ad markers within the episode that will tell the algorithm where to place ads during playback. Programmatic ads feature a few benefits over traditional host-read ads. Programmatic ad programs have a lower bar for entry. This means that your show's download numbers do not have to be as high as they would be for host-read ads. They also do not eat up as much time to implement. Since you're not responsible for recording ad copy, you just place your ad markers and you're good to go. That said, there are a few disadvantages to programmatic ads. Programmatic ads feature a much lower payout rate when compared to host-read ads. These ads do feature minimal control on the podcaster's part on the kinds of ads that play on your podcast. If there's a certain brand that you do not want featured on your podcast, there isn't a way to disable just that brand's ads, only the overall category that it belongs to. Take time to think about the category of ads you're willing to have on your show. If you're cool with restaurants but don't want McDonald's, don't select restaurants. These ads are also easy for listeners to skip through, which ultimately may turn off some listeners or affect how much you earn from them. Now that you know a bit about podcast ads and placement, how are ads actually paid out? Podcast ads use a payout method called CPM, which means cost per mille, or cost per thousand ad impressions. This means that if the going CPM rate is $25, you would get paid $25 after 1,000 ad impressions. It's important to be realistic about the potential revenue when you're weighing using podcast ads. We produced a video about using podcast ads, and in it, here's a short clip about an important math lesson.
If you're going through all the trouble of placing ad markers within your episodes and you're working with brands, it's important to understand payouts. After all, you're hoping to make some cash. So let's say you sign up for an ad spot that will play for 1 month, and the going CPM rate is currently $20. During our month, we release our episodes bi-weekly. Episode 1 gets 1,000 impressions. Episode 2 gets 250 impressions. This means that episode 1 got us $20 of ad revenue, and episode 2 only netted us about $5 worth of ad revenue, giving us a grand total of $25 of ad revenue for the entire month. This is not taking into account taxes or the percentage taken in by the platforms. Many platforms also have a minimum payout threshold that must be reached to issue payment, which typically is around the $20 to $30 range. If you can't reach that minimum threshold, it may be months before you see any money from your ads.
If podcast ads aren't in the cards for you, another option that may fit your needs would be the use of a podcast subscription or a podcast membership. Memberships and subscriptions work by giving your listeners the ability to financially support you and your show directly in exchange for premium content. Some example of these include Libsyn subscriptions, Apple subscriptions, and Patreon. There are a few different types of premium content that you could offer up to your membership. Things like ad-free versions of your podcast, extended versions of interviews or your episodes. Maybe that interview with that awesome guest who went a little too long. Well, a membership is a great place to include that extra content just for your members. Or exclusive episodes. These could be mini episodes on content related to your niche that you only want to provide to your members. Or exclusive access to you. Polls, chats, AMA, or Ask Me Anything. These give your members a feeling that they are getting a direct line to you that non-paying members would not be able to get. This method does have some major benefits over the use of ads. Community building. Memberships not only give you financial support, but truly make your audience feel like they are part of the production of your podcast. No download limits. There isn't a download limit that a new show has to reach to start a podcast membership. Still, our advice is that you wait until you have a solid audience built up that will find value in joining a podcast membership. So what's the catch? Are there any downsides to subscriptions and memberships? Well, there is one. It's a big one. Time. Memberships and subscriptions require a great deal of time added onto your podcast workflow. Depending on what premium content you're offering, your time spent recording and editing will increase. Hosting AMAs, chats, live streams, those all require that you carve out the time necessary to accomplish these extra tasks. Keep in mind that if you're charging a monthly amount to your listeners for premium content, you absolutely should deliver on a regular basis. If ads and memberships don't fit in with your monetization plan, there is another option, and it actually functions as double duty. It's going to promote your podcast while earning you some cash, and that is merchandising. Merchandising works by creating products with graphics related to your podcast and selling them en masse, either in person or through digital stores on your website. What types of products could you sell? T-shirts, cups, hats, cell phone cases, literally anything that you can throw your podcast logo onto. The major benefit of this method is not only do your fans get to support your podcast with merch they buy, but because it has your logo plastered on the product, it can serve as a way to publicize your podcast to a larger audience. This method is more passive than other monetization strategies. This means that if there are months when no one is purchasing merch, then you aren't collecting any income. A few things to keep in mind when selling merchandise. Use a print-on-demand service like TeePublic. This will allow you to choose products, set up a store, and print your designs on products without having to print, store, and ship them yourself. If you're attending any in-person events like a convention or a trade show, print a few items to sell in person. So let's take a minute to review what we've learned. Remember, you don't have to monetize your podcast if you don't want to. Monetization can help to offset the costs associated with producing and marketing your podcast. Podcast ads like host-read and programmatic offer direct paths of monetization that use your authority in a niche to sell products directly to your audience. Memberships and subscriptions are great for building revenue and community by giving your audience a direct role in the production of your podcast and premium content the non-paying audience can't access. Merchandise can serve as a passive way of earning money from your audience, but also can visually market your podcast to the public. When it comes to podcast monetization, we've talked about these three different options. You don't just have to use one. You can combine them. You can use them all. You can use none of them. If you don't want to monetize, there really is no right or wrong way. But one thing you do want to keep in mind is, how is this going to affect your show's content, and how is it going to affect your audience?